Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review The Neon Demon. Beauty isn't everything, it's the only thing.
Written and directed by Nicolas Winding Refn, starring Elle Fanning, Jenna Malone, and Keanu Reeves, The Neon Demon is about Jessie, a small-town girl who ends up moving to LA to pursue her career in the fashion industry. The other models in the industry are extremely jealous of Jessie and will go to extreme lengths to get what she has. So what do we like? First and foremost, this film is a Nicolas Winding Refn film. If you have seen Drive or any of his other previous films, then you know it's very stylistic, and especially taking place in like the fashionista world, it's definitely evident here. The lighting and the cinematography in this movie are amazing. Like, the style of the whole film is just incredible and probably one of the better looks that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it is how the cinematography presents itself. Majority of this film is not shot in such a way where you're looking directly at the characters. Instead, this film is shot where the camera is shooting into a mirror and you're seeing their reflection. And that has huge symbolism in this movie, considering that most of these models spend their whole lives looking at themselves in a mirror, and that's how we're being presented to this. This is how we perceive them.
This is more of like a deeper look into the vanity of people. From the dialogue to the way that it's shot, everybody is so self-absorbed except for Jessie. Everybody else just kind of wants to get to the top, and Jessie's just trying to do her own thing until things get a little crazy towards the end, but for the most part, she stays pure.
This film does leave you with a lot of uneasy moments. There's times where the characters are put in situations where you're gonna be sitting there on the edge of your seat, and it's nice because they do it in a way where you don't know if it's like a dream or if it's reality.
This movie has a very similar tone to Starry Eyes, in which it seems that Hollywood, of course, we all know, is run by this massive cult, or so everybody thinks. And this kind of takes a different look into that aspect, but in the world of fashion. And there are a lot of different elements in this movie that point towards cults and a deeper, darker truth to how the whole industry is run. Now, it gets a little bit confusing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But everything looks gorgeous
Yeah,
while doing it. The use of neon colors is definitely holds true to the title. There's lots of triangles, Illuminati, you know, that kind of stuff.
And glitter bombs. Tons of glitter in this film.
And because everything else is stunning, it's important that our actors are stunning as well. So not only the women, but the men, like everybody in this movie is good looking, and that's completely intentional.
I felt that this film also had a mood-setting soundtrack. The soundtrack in this film was synthy, it was electronic. To have a soundtrack that fits everything is a great touch.
Yeah, definitely one of the top soundtracks, if not my favorite soundtrack of 2016, because it's just got that very unique sci-fi quality, but like it's not too synthy that it sounds like You're Next or something, but I don't know, it's somewhere in between It Follows, You're Next, We Are Still Here. Like, it fits into, if you like any of that music, you're gonna love this soundtrack. Now let's move on to our dislikes. The biggest issue that I have, and I know that a lot of people will have, is it's not easy to digest. This is not a very straightforward movie because it relies heavily on symbolism and your knowledge of kind of how the industry supposedly works. And unfortunately, because they don't spell everything out for you, I think the casual viewer is not going to like this.
The pacing is slow and nothing really picks up until about 70 minutes in, and this is a 2-hour film. So when you're used to 90-minute films and nothing's happening until about that 90-minute mark, you are gonna lose a lot of audience members.
This isn't one of those movies that I'd recommend everybody goes and checks out. It's really for more intelligent viewers, to be honest. Now, I don't think I'm necessarily the smartest guy, but I'm definitely far from the dumbest. And I was completely lost for a lot of this movie, unfortunately. Having seen this movie on so many different top 10 lists of 2016, that's almost the main reason that we watched it, because we wanted to kind of see what's out there, see what everybody's giving praise, and I just couldn't get into it the same way that everybody else did.
Now, because the way this film was marketed and branded as a horror feature, It really isn't. It's more of a suspense thriller or an art house style of movie.
I don't think that's much of a spoiler, to be honest. It's better that you know up front before you actually watch the film that you shouldn't be waiting for some big gore gag, because it's not gonna come, and you're gonna be disappointed if you're waiting for an actual neon demon, because this isn't that kind of movie. I know the title suggests it, and the trailer even kind of hints at that, and the demon, I think, is vanity in itself. There's not an actual demon.
But you get lots of neon, so don't worry about that.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Stylistically, this movie is extremely impressive. It's well shot, everything looks gorgeous, and the soundtrack is one of the best that I've ever heard. I enjoy movies that don't give the viewer too much and allow them to kind of digest what they're seeing and let them kind of figure things out as we go along. Unfortunately, this is one of those instances where they didn't give you enough, so a lot of viewers are going to be extremely confused and probably leave the film unsatisfied because of the lack of closure. There's a lot of scenes in this movie that heavily rely on symbolism, and if you don't understand it right away, then you're going to be completely lost and you'll probably shut this off before you hit the 30-minute mark. I don't think this is necessarily a bad film, however, I think it was too intelligent for its own good. So I'm gonna give this 2.5 Detective Quints from Dexter out of 5.
This was definitely a cinematic film. It's something that a lot of people are gonna see, and it's for a specific audience. It's for the art house audience. It's more of a psychological thriller. It's something that has a deeper meaning and uses a lot of symbolism to get its point across. It's beautifully shot, and the soundtrack fits the film perfectly. We've got great actors, and I think there's a lot of good moments in this film with the characters, especially Keanu Reeves. We didn't talk about him, and you know what? His character was good in this movie. He was pretty entertaining. But again, this is definitely not gonna be for the average viewer. This is something that I think people should check out if you're into more artsy films. With that being said, I'm gonna have to give this film 3 awkward hellos out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. I got mine for like 12 bucks, so you can get it cheap if you do want to check it out. Check out the links, and if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.